Hi, I'm Chef Jonathan Collins. Welcome to my kitchen. Join me for 6 exciting episodes of Cuisinart Culinary School, and I'll prove you're not too busy to cook. Using only the freshest and best quality ingredients. Equipping your kitchen with stylish accessories and must-have gadgets, inspiring a return to the table. I'll teach you passionate, healthy, and simple cooking for your family.
So what we gotta do is we gotta
answering questions about ingredients, techniques, recipes, and tools. Master French culinary basics, and you'll always cook with confidence. Every week, you'll have a chance to watch and win one of these powerful kitchen tools, all thanks to Cuisinart. There's an eternal battle going on in my kitchen between my wife and I. She is a pastry chef and I am a lowly cuisinier. I'm gonna show you a recipe that I think she thinks is hers. It's Creme Anglaise. It's a base for many, many of your favorite dishes. You can use it to make creme brulee, which we're going to do today. We can put it in the ice cream machine and make beautiful ice cream. You can use it for bread pudding or just use it on its own as a topping for fresh fruit. Let's get started. The first thing I want to show you is the vanilla bean. I'm going to pull it out, and it's stored inside the glass because it keeps it nice and moist. I'm just going to flatten it out and slice directly down the center. We picked up on this in the series with spices. I'm just going to take out some of those seeds, leave them on the end of my knife. Now you can use vanilla extract as well, but the vanilla bean will give it something special. The pod goes directly in, as well as those beautiful seeds dropped right into the bottom. What I'm adding now is 1 full liter of whipping cream, or 35% cream, super rich and luxurious, and 500 milliliters, half as much, of milk. Now I need to put this on the stove and bring it up to temperature, just to a nice warm. I don't want to bring this to a boil. I don't want to scald the milk. All I want to do is I want to bring that vanilla flavor throughout all of this liquid. So let's get it on. While that's coming up to temperature, heat your oven to 325 degrees. Now I've got 10 egg yolks in the mixing bowl here. And what I want to do is I just want to separate. I just want the egg yolks. So really quick tutorial on how to do that. Simply crack the edge of the egg and just simply go from one side back to the other and one more time. And then all I'm left with is that beautiful egg yolk. I'm going to do that one more time. So again, crack the egg on the side of a bowl, crack it open, and no panic. Switch back and forth and into the bowl. There's no reason to get rid of the egg whites. You can use them for an omelet, use them for a meringue. You can freeze them. No need to toss them out. We just need this yolky goodness right now though. So I'm going to start whisking this just to bring it together. And I'm just going to give my cream and milk mixture a quick stir. I want to make sure all of those beautiful seeds get incorporated. I'm just going to dip my finger, quick check, it's starting to heat up nicely. So again, 12 egg yolks, 200 grams of white sugar in the bowl. This technique that I'm about to show you is called blanchir. And what I'm doing is I'm simply bringing together this egg and sugar mixture until it becomes light and fluffy. You'll see it becomes more blonde in color. And what I'm doing is I'm aerating, and the friction is actually beginning to cook the egg yolk. This cannot be sped up. It's part of the process that is critical to getting a beautiful, luxurious, thick creme anglaise. After 2 to 3 minutes, look at the ribbons. Beautiful long ribbons, and look at that color, the texture, and the sheen from all of that fat being whipped and come together. It looks just perfect. Now, let me check to see if the mixture is come up to temperature, and sure enough it has. I'm gonna leave the stove on because I'm gonna be going back to the stove. Now this part is really important, and if you need a little bit of help, don't be afraid to ask. What we're going to do is we're going to temper the eggs. It's really important, unless you want scrambled eggs, we need to bring them up to temperature slowly and cook them as we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by just pouring a little bit at a time and whisking as I go. So about, I would say about a half a cup, and I'm going to start bringing that together. Now I've got this really beautiful, heavy ceramic bowl I picked up at Home Outfitters that I absolutely love, and it's not shifting around at all on the board. If you have problems with it shifting on the board, take a wet towel, fold it, tuck it underneath, it'll be like an extra set of hands in the kitchen. So now that I've brought that, I'm going to put about another half cup in, and I can see it's starting to cook. Put another half cup in, and you can continue this until you bring that egg mixture nicely up to temperature. Tempering as you go. It's really simple. Once you do it once or maybe twice, this will become first nature for you, and you'll whip these things up in no time at all. Now, back into the pan, because in order to finish it, I have to cook it. So I'm gonna mix it back into the pan. Quick whisk. As I do, look at that. It's just beautiful. The fragrance, and I want to make sure, look at all these seeds. Those are all the seeds from the vanilla bean. I want to make sure I get every last one into this gorgeous mixture. Set that up out of the way. Now, I'm going to put this back on the stove, and as I heat it, I'm going to do these nice little figure eights, and as I do, this beautiful gift of nature from the egg will act as a binding agent and begin to thicken and turn it into the most beautiful sauce. After about 5 minutes on low heat, I've got the perfect finish. This creme anglaise can be marked by running a line across a wooden spoon, and it tells me that it's the right consistency. The last step in preparing the creme anglaise is to use a fine sieve or fine chinois and pass it through to take out the vanilla bean or any lumps that may have developed. Let's have a look at this beautiful consistency. Look at that. With my creme anglaise complete, I wanted to let you know you can add many flavors to this. You can do espresso, you can make chocolate, anything you can imagine you can put into a creme brulee. I'm going to do creme brulee Sophia, which is a beautiful grapefruit, and it matches perfectly because you have the richness of the cream and that slight bite from the grapefruit. And here's how simple it is to do. I'm making segments, and I start by removing about 10% off either end of the grapefruit. Then lying it flat, I'm going to follow the shape of the grapefruit from top to bottom. And as I do, I reveal that beautiful pinkish red flesh. Using a sawing motion with the knife. And there we have it. And have a quick look. All I'm going to do is put the grapefruit in the palm of my hand and gently, with a sharp knife, slide down and follow each one of those divisions. With the grapefruit segments already separated, I just line the bottom of the dish with the beautiful little slices. And it's as simple as adding the creme anglaise, pouring it in just to cover. Look at that. Beautiful. And I'm going to fill it just to the brim. Leaving myself enough room to top it with some sugar and hit it with the blowtorch. Creme anglaise turned into a beautiful creme brulee, meaning burnt cream. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Once we pop this in the oven, and before I do, I'm going to add a bit of already boiled water. And what this does is, as it bakes, it creates a humid environment. And that humid environment keeps it from crisping up, keeps it very moist, very dense, and cooked to perfection. Let's pop these in. After 35 minutes, the creme brulee are ready to come out. They need to chill or to cool. The consistency should be slightly gelatinous. So you can see there's a little bit of movement. They shake a little bit like Jell-O, and that's the way that you know that they're finished. Now, for an exciting addition, Creme Anglaise is ice cream. So I've got a frozen bowl in the freezer, and this is what makes this so simple. I just keep this in the freezer all the time. Whenever I want to pop together a sorbet or an ice cream, it's ready to go. It's as simple as just pouring in the Creme Anglaise, which I've slightly chilled, should be fully chilled. Lid off. Now this is a great piece of equipment, the Cuisinart ice cream machine, very versatile, small, compact, and easy to use, especially because all I have to do is literally turn it on. I'm putting the paddles down inside and the lid on and simply turn it on. Now the exciting thing is that very, very quickly, ice cream begins to develop and form on the sides. And before you know it, you've got those frozen crystals of beautiful ice cream ready to be scooped out and popped in the freezer to finish up nicely. I can leave it vanilla, but this one is going to be Daddy's ice cream. A little bit of espresso poured right through the top. That espresso and the vanilla are a perfect match. I can hardly wait to taste this. This ice cream is nearly finished, and it's going to be awesome. In just about 30 minutes, I have really a perfect ice cream. Look at the consistency and the fragrance. It's just incredible. A little shaved chocolate on this would be just what the doctor ordered. Now, to wrap up these creme brulee, it's as simple as a sprinkle of white sugar on top. Be liberal. We want to create a nice candied crust on the top. I've got a torch. You can just as easily use broil on the oven. Just keep your eye on it. So the idea with creme brulee is that we have this incredible, luxurious inside and this incredible, candied, crunchy outside. All right, I can't wait any longer. I have to try. Doesn't your heart race when you think about cheesecake? I know mine does. This is a perfect recipe to get started if you've never made one before. I've got my Cuisinart stand mixer, and it's gonna power through all of these ingredients and make the perfect cheesecake. Lemon cardamom cheesecake. So it's gonna be bright and it's gonna be aromatic. It's gonna be beautiful. Let's get started. First of all, I'm just gonna crank open this mixer. I've got a pound of cream cheese that's been softened and a half pound of mascarpone. It's a nice mix of cheeses, luxurious and smooth, and it's really important that they be softened before you begin. All of those in. Notice I've got the paddle attachment on the mixer, and make sure you don't turn it on high to start. I've got some sugar to put in, and let's give this a turn. I'm going to start bringing that together, and as I do, I want to whip it, get a little bit of air in it. Once it's started, I can slowly turn it up and begin to whip that. Just a couple teaspoons of vanilla extract. Pour that in slowly and allow that to combine. Oh, it smells beautiful. And I've got 4 whole eggs, 2 egg yolks, and the juice of 1 lemon. We want to make sure that we have great lemon flavor. So we're going to both combine the lemon juice and the zest. I'm just going to turn this up. The great thing about this Cuisinart mixer is it really gives you the flexibility to dial in exactly the power that you want. I love the high sides, and the only thing that this is missing, frankly, is a supercharger because this baby flies. Very nice. Now I'll turn it down so I don't get covered in eggs. And I'm going to slowly incorporate this egg mixture. Of course, the eggs are what binds the cheesecake together. We get the sweetness from that 1 cup of sugar. Oh, it looks beautiful already. Nice velvety texture. I'll turn that up just a bit. Very nice. Now, turn it off. A quick flip of this switch. You see how easy it gives me lots of room to get in there. I've got 1/3 of a cup of heavy cream. In it goes. I've got some previously grated cardamom. So I've toasted the cardamom pods and then I've put them through the mixer or the spice mixer, and I've got a really nice consistent spice. And this is really critical for lemon cardamom. I want to make sure I get the lemon zest in. The lemon zest is critical because that's where all those essential oils, it's really what's going to give it that super lemon flavor. So making a turn each time. I don't want to get any of the white pith in. I just want to get nothing but zest. There we go. Zest of 1 lemon. We'll give that 1 more turn. It's beautiful already. Excellent. Just gonna tip that up, keep moving right along here. I've got a beautiful spring-form pan. And what that does with cheesecake is it allows me to pop the sides off really easily so that I can handle it afterwards. Deep dish cheesecakes have a tendency to crack a little bit on the top. So what I've got is I've got a bain-marie or a water bath. And why that works so well is it creates an area that's humid, much the same as a creme brulee. So I've got this foil and it's gonna tuck up right around the edges. And that's gonna prevent any water from leaking into the bottom and softening this beautiful crumb crust. 1 cup of graham cracker crumbs, a couple tablespoons of white sugar, and about 1/4 cup of melted butter. All brought together, pressed into the bottom, and then baked at 325 for about 10 minutes. It gets the crust nice and crisp, so when I put the liquid on top, I don't end up with a soggy crust. It's a texture thing and it's really important. With the paddle out, I can easily remove the bowl, allowing me access to this gorgeous, gorgeous filling. Now watch as it comes out, the consistency. It's beautiful. You can tell that it's vanilla flavored, and look at all that beautiful lemon zest in there. I'm gonna top it off with a bit of lemon zest as well. Don't forget to knock down the sides of your pan when you're mixing. It's just to make absolutely certain you get really nice consistency. I've got a tiny bit of lemon zest here. I'm just gonna finish off the top. That way when you see the top of the cheesecake, you'll know precisely what it is. And now for the bain-marie. I've got some boiling water, and I'm just gonna fill the sides of this pan just enough so that I can still handle it. But you'll see that's gonna run right around the cake. And that will absolutely ensure that I get the right texture. It's going in a 325-degree oven and going in for about an hour. I'm gonna check it, I'm gonna look at it and make sure that it's coming along nicely, but 1 hour should do just right. Have you ever wanted the perfect pie crust? Do you want the perfect pie crust? I have the best little baker with me here today, and we're gonna throw together a simple pie crust. So we've got 3 cups of flour, Gracie.
Yeah.
Into the mixer. Now the food processor makes short work of these because it brings all the ingredients together really quickly without warming up the butter. So I've got really frozen butter, which works really well, 12 tablespoons. 1/4 cup of shortening. And the reason I'm combining the two is I get great flavor from the butter, but the shortening, it adds some layers of flakiness, and that's what you want with pastry. You want that flakiness. A little bit of sweetness, so we've got some 2 tablespoons of white sugar. Lid on. I'm going to start by pulsing it, just to begin to bring it together. Let's turn it on for a moment. And as that begins to combine, I'm going to temper that with just a little bit of ice water. I'm using ice water to keep both the shortening and the butter cold. And the great thing about this is that you know it's done when it comes together right there in front of you. Look at that. See that? It's finally, this is it, here it comes. And there you go. See, it's now, look at that. It's come all together, and that's exactly what you're looking for. Perfect. Yeah. So when that comes together like that, now that's a great thing about a decent food processor is it'll make short work for you. It's like having an extra hand in the kitchen, really. So I'm going to turn this out onto a floured countertop. Get that sharp blade out of the way. And then what we want to do, Grace, is we don't want to work it too much. A little bit of flour. And we just start by pressing it down, pressing it together. Just make sure we have a nicely formed ball. And then we'll begin to roll. And turn. A little bit more flour. Not too much flour, because what happens is you'll begin to dry out the dough and it'll be difficult to handle. So we want to get this down to about 1/4 inch in thickness. Starting to get a little bit of tacky here. So as it gets tacky, you just want to put a little bit of flour on it. And now what I'm going to do here, Grace, is I'm just using the pie plate as a mold. So I'm just going to go about 2 inches around the outside. I like the pie or the tarts to look kind of rustic. Just means, you know, I want them to look like they're homemade. Not everything has to be perfect, okay? So after I cut that out, I'm going to pull this extra dough aside. See, and that leaves me with a perfect little mold. It smells good, eh? I'll set the pie plate up. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a press. And then what I do is I actually use this, I very carefully, I pull that up and I roll this back, and as I do, look what happens. I'm picking up the dough. I pull this back and watch. We'll roll it right out on top. Now, I'm gonna tuck that down inside. You see that, how we're getting that inside? And I never trim off the excess until after the dough's been rested. This is gonna go into the refrigerator for about 30 minutes. When I pull it out, I may trim some off depending on the type of tart that I want to do. I may leave a little bit on the top and tuck it in. But the most important thing is that it rests before it goes in the oven for the blind bake, because I don't want it to shrink up and leave me with those microscopic sides. Sound good? Let's get this in the fridge. Having rested for 30 minutes, this crust is ready to be blind baked. Blind baking because we're going to put it in the oven before we put any of the contents, any of the good parts inside, to make sure that it's good and crisp. Here's a really easy way. We're gonna make a really clean looking tart. So we're just gonna use the rolling pin, roll right across the top like that, Grace. And what it does is it gives us the perfect reveal. Look at that, isn't that great? What we'll do, Grace, and you can help me, is we'll just press in these sides. Go ahead, put your fingers in there. Gently press in the sides. We just wanna make sure it takes the shape of that beautiful dish. And now, the fun part, we'll poke some holes in it. Randomly poking holes in it, because as the moisture escapes, we want to make sure that we don't get any big blisters or any big bumps in the bottom. We're even going to do the side. So poke some holes in the side. So as the ceramic heats up, it's going to radiate heat through the dough, and any of the moisture that's inside the dough that is gonna begin to evaporate and be pressed right through. So we wanna make sure we do that. Then we're gonna take one more step. We're gonna cover it with a circle of parchment. Press that down in. Doesn't have to be a perfect fit. And then we've got some baking beads. So we're gonna pour those in. And what that does, Grace, is it keeps the paper down. If you don't have these beads, what you can use is just a regular navy bead. And then after you've used them, just reserve them for the next time that you need them. You know, this has to go into a 375-degree oven, but before it does, we have to pull out that gorgeous cheesecake. So let's have a look. Watch your hands, okay, sweetie? Don't touch this, it's hot. So look at that incredible finish. You see that beautiful lemon zest, on the top. Now it's this gelatinous movement that I'm looking on the surface. I just want a little bit of movement. It lets me know that it's both finished and it's still nice and moist on the inside. All right, Grace, we're gonna put this in a 375-degree oven, convection bake for about 10 minutes, and we'll watch for it and check the moisture when it's done. So now, Grace, we just have to throw together this really beautiful and tart lemon filling. What I've got is I've got heavy cream, a 1/4 cup, that I've heated up. That's going directly in the bowl. And then, can you help me with some eggs? Crack some eggs? Okay. So I've got 3 eggs going in. You can crack those eggs. The juice from 4 lemons. You're getting it. Good. Here, toss it in there. Okay, you get one and I'll get one. 1 cup of sugar. Good job. And then we're gonna zest a lemon. Again, we want that really strong lemon flavor. So we're gonna get all of this in there. You can smell that crust starting to bake already. Perfect. Now, we're gonna give this a quick whisk. Can you smell that? Smell that. It smells good, eh? Bring that together nicely, mix these ingredients thoroughly, and when our crust is ready, we'll pour it in. After removing the beads, I can pull up the parchment, and what I can see is that this has lost most of its moisture. I've got a little bit of coloration around the top, but it's ready for this gorgeous filling. So let's just fill it up. Look at that. You'll notice there's no shrinkage around the sides. And as I fill this up, you can see all that beautiful lemon zest. Now, this is going back in at 275 degrees, and it won't be long. We'll have the perfect tart. With the cheesecake fully cooled, I'm gonna take and I'm gonna run a knife right around the outside, just removing any attachments it might have to the springform pan. It's an important step just to make sure that it doesn't stick. Now, I'm gonna open it up. Oh, and it drops right out. Isn't that cool? So now I'll take and set that gorgeous cheesecake up on the platter. Maybe we'll put a little bit of fruit on top, a little bit of blueberry. We'll dress this one up a little bit. We're gonna need more than that, aren't we? You know what? We have to get this lemon tart out of the oven. Hang tight. Oh, Grace, look at this. This lemon curd tart is the picture of perfection. Now listen, I guarantee if you follow these recipes, you'll not only have some of the finest looking desserts, but you'll have a great time making them too.
Thanks, Daddy, for letting me help.
You're welcome. The only thing left to do is eat.